I swear to God, I knew this would happen. The second they let you people in, our property values were doomed, and now you're trying to steal from my son. Get your thieving hands off my porch before I call the cops. Yeah, that was how it all blew up. But let me back up a sec. It never starts with the explosion, does it? Always just a tiny little crack somewhere, a tremor before the quake. For me, it all started with a ping. Not even a dramatic one, just the most normal, everyday digital ping from my phone while I was sprawled on the couch in sweatpants, halfway into convincing myself to watch another episode of some show about Viking kings, or just call it a night. Tuesday, the most nothing day of the week, you know what I mean? I'm sitting there, locked in this existential debate about binge-watching versus adult responsibility, and boom, my credit card app flashes. Thank you for your order from the Gilded Spoon. I just blink at the screen for a second. The Gilded Spoon. Now, that's not your run-of-the-mill takeout joint. We're talking $40 lobster mac, truffle everything, desserts that cost more than a whole lunch. It's the kind of place you hit when you get a big promotion or want to flex on a date, not when you're alone in sweatpants with a coffee stain. But hey, weird app glitches happen, right? I open the app, ready to swipe away some computer hiccup, and there it is, right on top. $3.87 for a food order, with every detail: lobster mac, rack of lamb, fancy sodas, and some paella with a name so pretentious I almost laughed. I feel that little spike of panic. Like, someone's got my number. Here comes the credit card nightmare. But then I check the delivery address, and my heart just about stops. It's not random. It's not halfway across town. It's next door. Not just next door, the house with the two-car garage, the perfect hedges, the queen of the HOA herself, Karen. I stand there, staring at the address like maybe if I blink enough it'll change. All those scenarios run through my mind. Could it be a mix-up? A tech screw-up? Some delivery driver on a joyride? But my name, my card, their address. It just doesn't add up. Unless they did it. The more I think about it, the less I want to believe it. But there's that son, the walking embodiment of teenage smugness, headphones always on, phone in hand, acting like he's better than everyone because he's never been told no. The idea of walking over and accusing them straight up? Nope. Not my style, not my circus. But $400 is $400. Before I know it, I'm peeking through the blinds, feeling like some low-rent detective. And right then, a food delivery car pulls up, the driver hops out with this huge bag, walks up, and the son opens the door. Cool as you like, takes the food, zero surprise. He was expecting it. And suddenly it clicks. That little punk next door just used my card for a $400 King's Feast, right under my nose. My confusion explodes into pure, sharp anger. It's not even about the money anymore. It's the principle, the audacity. I throw on jeans and a t-shirt, stomp out the door, cross my yard, and step onto their perfect grass like I'm crossing enemy lines. The kid is sitting on the porch, eating my lobster mac, laptop open, not a care in the world. I walk right up, let him see me coming. He glances up, gives me that smirk. It's like he's daring me, saying, "Yeah, I did it. What now?" We lock eyes. I fold my arms. He just takes another bite, like I'm invisible. "We need to talk," I say, voice low. He raises an eyebrow, smirks again. "About my dinner?" Like he's on a sitcom. I'm so mad I almost laugh. But before I can respond, the front door bursts open and there she is, the queen herself. Karen. She's in a silk robe, fire in her eyes, scolding her son for eating on the good porch furniture. Then she spots me and her face transforms. Annoyance, suspicion, then pure hostility. She storms over, gets between me and her son, puffs up. "Stay away from my son. You have no right to come here and harass my child." I'm floored. "Your son just used my credit card to buy all this," I say, gesturing to the food. She looks at the table, then at me, and I see the flicker of doubt, but it's bulldozed by her indignation. And that's when she lets it rip, the line I'll never forget. "I knew this would happen. The second they let you people in, our property values were doomed. And now you're trying to steal from my son. Get off my property before I call the cops." It was like a slap. I'm the one who got robbed. And here she is, calling me a thief. The racism isn't even subtle. It's out there, raw and ugly. She whips out her phone and starts dialing 911, telling them her neighbor is threatening her son, putting on a show for the ages. I'm just standing there, numb, watching her perform for the police. Her son shrinks, playing terrified, the food pushed aside, perfect victim. I know how this looks. Big black guy, white mom, nighttime, accusations flying. The stakes skyrocket. I weigh my options, leave or stand my ground. I choose to stay, but I back off their lawn, stand by the street under the streetlight, hands visible, posture calm. I wait. 10 minutes crawl by. The neighborhood starts to wake up, curtains twitch, lights flicker on. Then I hear sirens, see the red and blue. 2 cops step out, one older, weary-eyed, one younger, all business. They go straight to her. She weaves her story, tears and all. He threatened my son. The younger cop is buying it. But the older one walks over to me, keeps a safe distance. What's your side, he asks. I tell him, show him the credit card charge, the delivery address, the whole story, calm and steady. He listens, asks if I have proof. I pull out my phone, show him the app, the receipt, my name, their address, the list of stolen food. He looks at it for a long minute, then at the kid, then at the half-eaten lobster mac. Son, he says, voice sharp now. What did you order for dinner? The kid freezes, glances at his mom, no rescue coming. He stammers, caught cold. The cop looks at me, gives my phone back, and walks up the porch. Ma'am, we need to have a different conversation inside, he says. She sputters, but it's over. The door shuts behind them. I stand there in the flashing lights, letting the adrenaline drain away. After what feels like forever, the officers come back out, the husband trailing behind. He's apologizing, desperate to make it right. Offers to pay me back, pleads for his son's future. But it's not about the money anymore. I tell him I'm pressing charges. He deflates, the officers nod. I'm told to come to the station tomorrow. And that should have been the end. But, of course, it's not. A few days later, I find an official HOA letter taped to my door, 3 petty violations. Lawn too long, fence not approved, garbage can visible from the street. $150 a day in fines if I don't rectify. She's coming at me sideways now, trying to drown me in bureaucracy. But I'm done playing nice. I read the HOA handbook, walk past her house, spot half a dozen violations of her own. Too high mailbox, unapproved flag, bird bath, yep, against the rules. I file my own complaint, perfectly by the book. The war of pettiness is on. Meanwhile, the detective on my case calls, says, check all your accounts, not just your credit card. Kids like this don't usually do it once. I dig into my PayPal and find 3 digital gift card purchases over the past month. Almost $200, all sent to a mystery email. I forward the proof. The detective says this bumps it to grand larceny, a felony, not just a prank. The neighbor house goes silent. They stop coming outside, grass grows wild, tension thick enough to cut. I keep my head up, stay friendly with everyone else, and slowly word spreads. Turns out, other folks have their own horror stories with the queen of the HOA. An older neighbor, Mrs. Gable, becomes my unexpected ally. Backs me up at the farmer's market when Karen tries to shame me in public. It's a beautiful moment. The truth starts coming out. Weeks roll by. The father tries again to buy me off, shows up at my door with $10,000 in cash, begging me to drop the charges, for the good of the family. I refuse. This is bigger than money now. My integrity isn't for sale, and this kid needs to face real consequences for once. The legal gears turn, slow but steady. Eventually, the case goes to court. The kid's defense tries to paint it as a one-time lapse, but the digital trail and the pattern of theft tell another story. The judge hands down a sentence, 2 years probation, hundreds of hours of community service, restitution that has to come from the boy himself, not his parents, and, maybe best of all, a handwritten apology letter from both son and mother. The judge even calls out the racism and the family's attempts to buy their way out. For once, the system works. The apology letters come in the mail. The kid's is awkward, but there's a glimmer of truth in his words. The mom's is formal, but she finally admits, if only in writing, that what she did was inexcusable and wrong. That's enough for me. Their power in the neighborhood evaporates. She steps down from the HOA. Their house is quiet, reputation in shambles. The son does yard work, pays his debt one small check at a time. I become part of the community, not the outsider anymore. There are small victories, like my HOA fines getting tossed out, her birdbath banned, mailbox lowered. And, sometimes I still catch myself looking over at their porch as the sun sets, remembering that wild night, the flashing lights, the hate in her voice, the fear in my gut. I learned that truth, when you've got the receipts, is powerful. I learned that standing your ground is hard, but sometimes it's the only way to win back your dignity. And I learned that for every bully, there's someone like Mrs. Gable ready to stand beside you. So here I am, a year later, rocking on my own porch as the crickets start up, a check for restitution in my mailbox, the last of many, the neighborhood peaceful again. I fought for this. I earned it. Was it worth it? Yeah, it was. But let me ask you, what would you have done? Would you take the money and run, or would you fight back, even if it meant risking everything for a piece of justice? Let me know down below. Where's the line between forgiveness and consequences, between peace and standing up for what's right? Because honestly, in the end, maybe the real measure of a neighborhood isn't in the height of your grass or the color of your mailbox. Maybe it's in the stories we tell and who stands with us when it matters most.